Well, the one thing that I thought was interesting when I was watching the first one again was so that moment, right, was very interesting on multiple levels. So, for one, he sneaks off after he's supposed to go study at the library. He sneaks off to go to this fight, which is kind of morally ambiguous at most, at best. But he goes off and does this. And then he wins.
Right.
And this guy doesn't like that he won. So he doesn't hand him all the money. So
He's
then
the kid, so he thinks he could take advantage of him. Which, if Sam Raimi were here, he would say, "That's why I had to make him a high schooler."
Right. And then, so he gets his like petty vengeance, right, and allows the thief to get away with the money.
Yes.
That leads into this cascading effect where he's the one that kills Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
So the
Which, fascinatingly enough, is like Uncle Ben said, you had the power, therefore you had the responsibility, and then he didn't seize that responsibility to do something about
and
it. And
ironically, that was their last conversation, which Spider-Man beats himself up for. So the whole thing is just, it's very tightly knit, and they do a great job of like,
narratively, yes.
Right. And so that moment hits so hard because not only when he goes out and looks at his uncle, he knows he's dead, but then he goes in search of the guy. But when he comes face to face with the fact, it's almost like when Luke cuts off Vader's head in that scene and he sees his own face.
Yeah.
He has to come into he has to come to grip with the reality of like, this is my fault. I not necessarily did it, but I could have made it not happen.
Yeah.
Directly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such like a pivotal moment in the film because that carries over into the second one where he's faced with having to tell Aunt May what happened. So that whole arc that's really powerful, it's a really great arc of this character is completely shredded in the third film. And it's like, I think it's hard to come to grips with that as you're watching it. Because it's this weird way of them trying to connect the villains, all of them, to Peter somehow. And it's like, you don't need to do that. There was no reason to do this. But Sandman, he like, how did they do it? He like runs up and he's the one like holding Ben at gunpoint, and the other guy like bumps him and he shoots him by accident or something. Like they take all of the responsibility away. Like all the direct action just gets removed. And so it's almost like the filmmakers and the writers like removing responsibility from Peter's shoulders and then throwing it away. And so it kind of diminishes his character arc almost in an indirect way. And so that's what I had a problem with. I was like, I didn't like, because it was good that was the thing. Because they ran in with that line is, you had the power, you had responsibility you could have taken.
Right.
But now you
didn't have the maturity.
Right, but you had to face the consequences of your actions regardless.
Right.
And that is that's a quintessential Spider-Man message, right?
Yes.
And they just took it away.